Welcome to Unleashed Opinion, boldly challenging the powers that be while keeping liberals in their place with conservative ideals and common sense solutions.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Unleashed Opinion. We're live and worldwide once again.
Hello, everybody.
Chucklehead's in the house again this evening.
I am, man. My thing is locked up tighter. There it goes. There it goes.
Oh, good God.
We're going.
I don't want to talk about your... Yeah.
Easy. This is a family show, Steve.
Yes, I know.
Dang it. How many times I got to tell you? Hi, Abby. How are you tonight?
Hey, we got Steve Snyder out there, too.
Snidely.
Yeah. A big thank you out to our service members out there doing what they do, making sure our rights are enforced and keeping us free and safe on a daily basis.
You got a little scratchy in your throat?
I do.
Absolutely. We love our military. Always will.
Yep, you betcha. Big thank you to John for putting everything together for us. And
well, he does actually make us look halfway decent.
We need all the help we can get.
Yes, we do. Big thank you out there to all of our law enforcement personnel, first responders. You guys are fantastic doing what you do.
Our listeners out there give us text messages and different messages on Facebook and such. It helps out a bunch.
Absolutely.
Greatly appreciate it.
Another entity we need to talk about, and we've never talked about it before, but all those who run funeral homes and do all of the body draining and stuff like that and filling up.
You didn't have to say all that.
You know, I mean, it takes special people
I know,
to do that.
you're
I
right.
happen to work for a couple of special people.
I know.
So, you know.
But some things I just don't need to know.
Yeah. Well, but kudos to everybody who does that, because that's got to be tough. Absolutely, it is.
Man. Oh my God!
Not only do you have to deal with the bodies and maybe bodies of children, but some family members that you have to deal with. It might not be, you know, very nice, but absolutely.
Yep.
The big boss out of 125 is watching.
You betcha. We better act right now. The guys out there in Fulton County.
Absolutely. Everybody in the prison system, especially all those at Western Illinois Correctional Center, you guys are fantastic. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And if you want to call into the show, all you have to do is pick up that telephone and dial 217-909-4099. I finally picked that up on the TV here.
Yeah, it's only right here in front of us.
Maze, Thumper, and Clay are out there.
All righty.
No beer being drank out there, though.
No,
they're on the wagon.
Literally.
Not.
Got Dan Lemming out there, too. All right.
What up?
He's got not too long left.
Hey, Lenny.
DOC.
How much time you got left, bud?
He'll tell us.
Dave Meyer, what up, brother?
All right.
Hey, for something positive to start out the show with, you know, everybody knows that I like to exercise and try and stay in good shape, because when I get a little bit older, you know, I don't want to have to be walking around with a cane if I can help it or something like that, as long as I still got my marbles, which probably won't happen. But I'm here to tell you right now, if you keep moving, if you try to eat a fairly decent diet, and we all fall off that wagon from time to time. I know I do, eating lots of blueberry pies and stuff for Christmas and Thanksgiving.
You said pies, right?
Pies.
As in more than one?
Pies.
I thought so.
Yes.
Just making sure.
But anyway, if you keep moving, you can still do what this 91-year-old lady is doing right here. Well, I'm not going to try it, you know, but she's doing it.
Yeah. And take a look at that. Let's see.
I can't do that at 53, and I don't want to try it.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
You know, there are people out there that, you know, who just aren't physically able to do some of this stuff. I understand that.
I'm one of them.
You know,
that's amazing.
Absolutely it is. And just because you're 91 years old or you get up in age doesn't mean life has to stop. You know,
there are no limitations.
There are no limitations, and I challenge everybody out there who doesn't think that they have time or the want to do it. I mean, I know a lot of times people are short on time, but there's still ways to get a little bit done. You know, push-ups, jumping jacks, or something like that in your home, just to keep yourself limber and moving.
The part where she wheeled around looked like she's going to fall on her head. I could
Yeah.
do that part.
Oh, absolutely.
I would fall on my head. Probably
So,
wouldn't hurt anything, though.
Phil Crary, what up, my brother?
Dance's got 1 week left.
1 week. That's awesome. I hope
right.
there's a invitation to the sportsman involved in that. But you know, congratulations, though, bud. Thank you for
Absolutely.
everything you did. I know we worked together for a long time, and it was our pleasure to work with you.
Absolutely.
Same with you, Phil, little buddy. Would you go? You know, I'm trying to keep this going, but you're just over there jacking around. And you got your toxic masculinity whiskers still.
Yeah, I know. That's right.
What's going on?
They're not coming off either.
Okay.
Okay.
You scared me, Steve. You know, we
think it'll be all right.
only have 12 years to live.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get to that here in a little bit.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Global warming soon kill us all.
Oh my gosh.
A Vietnam War veteran who died alone in New Jersey, in his New Jersey home, was mourned by more than 1,000 people who attended his funeral. Leroy Wooster, the funeral home director who provided the services free of charge, took to social media to invite people to pay their respects. He first ran a newspaper advertisement, search for relatives of the veteran, Peter Turnpue.
What?
That's what it looks like to me. We made phone calls. We made every possible attempt to find any relatives. He said after running the ad, we had no contact. The guy was found, who was 77, was found inside his home in a neighborhood on December 9th, according to the newspaper. This guy reportedly served in Vietnam from 64 to 66 before being honorably discharged. Wooster said he had no idea the support for the veterans would be as large as it was. He said it was just one big family, military family came together, both Vietnam veterans and also active duty personnel. Can you imagine that? He went to social media for this guy who had no family,
Well, that's
a Vietnam
fantastic,
veteran, and had
you know.
1,000 people show up. That's amazing.
That is fantastic, you know, and our vets need to be honored, man, all the time. You see one out there, we've said this 1,000 times. You see a vet out there, shake his hand, tell him thank you for your service, because I guarantee you there are a lot of them out there that don't feel like they have been thanked, or people don't, honor what they've done, and
they don't feel appreciated. Yeah,
that's, there you go. That's the word I was looking for. But
I'm here to help.
Brain farts and all.
That's what I do. I help.
That's right. That's right. Steve, you're so good.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Yeah, well, let's not find out. We got Carolyn Baker out there. Hosey's out there.
Hosey, you got moved to Missouri yet, bud?
I think he did.
Wow.
What else? You got anything else positive there?
No. Well, actually, there is something positive, but it's kind of a positive thing, but we'll get to that later on.
Okay. You've heard about service dogs and what they do for people with disabilities and such.
Woof. Turn poo.
That you look never.
I'm not questioning it.
Okay, a 15-year-old girl who's allergic to almost everything under the sun, Martina Baker, had a very rare disorder called mast cell activation syndrome. Makes her allergic to almost everything. That includes such things as water, heat, perfume, cleaning products, nearly everything. Just a whiffing of cooking oil can send her into anaphylactic shock without a quick treatment, which would be the EpiPens that we've talked about in DOC. Well, people put together and donated $10,000 for this service dog. Let's see. The Maine team received donations for the service dog and is now a proud owner of Kiva, a highly trained pup that smells when Martina is about to have a reaction to something before she even realizes it herself.
No kidding.
And then stands in front of her to block her path. She says, I came from a normal girl with no health issues to one day my whole life was altered. I'm allergic to any smell that is not oxygen we breathe every day. The symptoms first started when she was 13, started breaking out in hives. Her throat would close up, and the only thing that would help would be jabbed with an EpiPen. So this outfit in Arizona trained this dog from a puppy to learn how to deal with this, and fortunately for this 15-year-old girl, this dog is helping her live a normal life. So
wow, that's fantastic.
It's pretty amazing.
I kind of understand what she's going through. I mean, just a little bit, nothing to that extent, but I have chemical allergies and stuff. I walk down the chemical aisle at Walmart, I can definitely feel my sinuses start to swell up and stuff like that. So I can't even imagine what's going on with her. Imagine if I couldn't eat a steak. That would be a bout of turn poo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Really?
Really.
You got Scott Zimmerman out there too.
Zimmy. Wow.
Okay, got something else.
Steve has got something else, everybody.
I do. Something positive.
Oh, yes. This is fantastic, folks.
This
Listen
is
to this.
Tammy Duckworth. Really don't like a lot of things she does, but you know what? She's done something good here, and we're gonna.
You know what? I don't care. I don't care if she's a Democrat. I don't care if she's a liberal. If she's doing something positive like this, we're going to put it out there and thank her for it.
Absolutely. U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth is hoping veterans who operate small businesses take advantage of a new law giving them access to surplus government property.
There's a lot of that.
Apparently, yes. The average person probably doesn't realize that. The measure that she sponsored, which was signed into law earlier this month by Donald Trump, adds those veterans into the list of eligible groups to get federal surplus property for free. The notion of Veteran Small Business Enhancement Act had been developing in her mind for several years of work with veterans veterans entrepreneurs. She said from her time working at the Department of Veterans Affairs through setting up her own congressional district office. Duckworth said she made a point to use federal surplus property rather than new material. Later, the idea expanded to becoming more refined after hearing from some veterans who wanted to go into farming. The bipartisan legislation includes a small business, those veterans who operate small family farms, and the surplus materials varied enough to help them, citing warehouses filled with material from laptops to shovels to filing cabinets, earth-moving equipment. Here's the kickers. The law prohibits any resale of material. Okay, they must be put into use for their business. They cannot be turned around and put on eBay or for something like that. So,
cool.
So that's pretty good. You got an abundance of stock that the federal government's got that you can't do anything with it,
right.
And you're going to give it to veterans just to help start a small business. That's outstanding.
That is fantastic.
Good job, Tammy.
Thank her and thank Trump for signing that, correct?
Yes. Yep, Trump signed it last month.
Damn bastard, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I know.
Gosh.
Hey, we got Nicole out there tonight, too. All right.
What up, Nicole? Hey, Roy. Hey, thank you for what you do, too, bud. We really appreciate everything you law enforcement personnel do.
All righty.
Especially down where you guys are working. That can be pretty rough. Okay. Well, what do you think? I got some videos.
Yeah, I know there's some pretty good ones, too.
All right. This first video we're going to show is kind of twofold because, A, I'm going to give out the first ever, what did I say, BSC award from the Unleashed Opinion. That's Batshit Crazy Award. And that's going to go out to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the new representative.
Upcoming star.
Yeah.
But she's got a tough contender.
Yeah, she does. Hank Johnson. Anyway, we're going to run the Alexandria Cortez video because she's just off the frickin' charts here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to show these videos to show people exactly what people are voting for. The people that they're putting into office, how they're getting in there, I have no freaking clue.
Because it's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. So roll the beautiful bean footage.
To the Senate side, because the thing is, we went to his office in the Capitol, we went to his office here in the Russell Building, we went to the floor, we went to the cloakroom, he's not in the cloakroom, he's not in the Capitol, he's not in the Russell Building, he's not in the floor of the Senate, and 800,000 people don't have their paychecks. So where's Mitch?
They couldn't find him because those lawmakers went to the wrong office. McConnell works out of the majority leader's space in the Capitol, which the lawmakers would have needed to pass on their way to the Senate side to try to make their point.
Who elected this woman?
That's what we want to know.
Our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020.
AOC is crazy. If it was just once that she did something bizarre, then I'd understand it. But every time she opened her mouth.
Inaugurated January 3rd, January 4th, we're signing healthcare, we're signing this.
But they don't actually inaugurate Congress people, they swear them in.
And then she went on to say that she was going to get inaugurated on the 3rd and then start signing bills on the 4th. You don't get inaugurated and you don't sign bills. Only the president will sign the bills that you present to him.
This young lady, I wonder if she's smarter than a 5th grader.
The benefit of capitalism is that you engage in voluntary trade. It is the system that, unlike all the others, has lifted more people out of poverty over the course of human history than any other system. Well, so I think that those things that you talk about, that you discuss, are part of the course of human evolution.
Oh my goodness, bless her little commie soul. But she appears to have her political colors mixed up.
Oh, listen to this.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be hopping on here, Senator Sanders' account, and we're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're gonna flip this seat red in November.
She knows absolutely nothing, and she's made it to Capitol Hill.
Yes, but I also think that what people are starting to see, at least in the occupation of Palestine, I think what I meant is like the settlements that are increasing in some of these areas and places where Palestinians are experiencing difficulty in access to their housing and homes. Do you think you can expand on that? Yeah, I mean, I think I'd
Okay,
also
John, that's good on this one.
Oh, this gets better. Like we say, she's got a tough contender for this prize, I'll tell you.
If that's not bad enough, and we got 2 videos of Hank Johnson here. One we have run on the show more than once because it's just absolutely unbelievable. And then there's another one of him. The second video is of him talking about helium. Apparently there was a helium shortage in 2013, and he just doesn't think the world can do without anything like that. So let's watch these next 2 quick videos.
Island that at its widest level is 12 miles from shore to shore, and at its smallest level or smallest location, it's 7 miles between one shore and the other. Is that correct?
I don't have the exact dimensions, but to your point, sir, I think Guam is a small island.
Very small island, and about 24
Looks like he's been smoking something.
miles, if I recall, long. So 24 miles long, about 7 miles wide at the least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide on the widest part of the island. And
get to the point, Hank.
I don't know how many square miles that is. Do you happen to know?
I don't have that figure with me, sir. I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that
Listen to this.
the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
Watch this.
We don't anticipate that. The Guam population, I think, currently about 175,000, and again, with 8,000 Marines and their families, it's an addition of about 25,000.
Yeah, that's good on that one.
But I was unaware that islands floated, but I don't know. In Georgia, maybe it's different. That's where he's from.
There are a lot of peanuts down there, I guess.
But did you hear the Admiral says, well, we don't anticipate that happening.
I mean,
I'll bet
it's a
not.
classic. It's a classic. I need to keep that at home in my collection. There's one more. I hate to be hitting with all these videos right away, but we're just trying to make our point here. So run the last one, John.
Which shows that this Tea Party Congress will make the tough choice.
He looks much healthier
to keep children's birthday parties on schedule and give industries that rely on helium the lift that they deserve. Imagine, Mr. Speaker, a world without balloons. How can we make sure that the injustice of there being no helium for comedians to get that high-pitched voice that we all hold near and dear to our hearts? Imagine a world without balloons. Today, the House has chosen to just simply float above it all.
I think you're flying above something, brother.
Something for the American people, and we should all pat ourselves on the back for that. Too often lately, this body has sat deflated. Not for a lack of hot air, mind you, but seriously, ladies and gentlemen, unlike a noble element, this House has failed to act on Americans' real concerns.
Yeah, because helium's a big concern, right?
This bill, and And
Okay, John, that's good. Oh, my God. Obviously, you guys understand the point we're trying to make here. How does this happen? How does people like this get freaking elected? And we wonder why our government's in freaking shambles.
You know, we've got two people that say really foolish things out here that we just run the videos on. All the right has is Trump.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty good at it, too.
For crying out loud.
Is Trump aware of the helium shortage where he was talking about?
I don't know.
I think Guam's going to tip over.
He might have some of that stuck up under his hair, keeping it kind of puffy or something like that.
It could be.
I just don't understand. I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, exactly. Who likes these people? And I understand the Cortez thing because everybody wants free stuff because apparently they don't know that there's no such thing as free.
No, there never is.
You can promise that all you want to.
Now, she's a straight up socialist, folks, so she could be dangerous because there are a lot of people, unfortunately, it seems to be jumping on her bandwagon.
Along with Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And look at Elizabeth Warren. Don't rule her out either.
Cherokee people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
Here we go.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
That's a pretty uninformed public when you get people like these two people that are elected. And here again, yes, Trump says a bunch of stupid stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
He does all the time. I wish he'd shut up most of the time. But look what his policies have done for us.
Yeah, and he's doing exactly what he says he was going to do. Unlike other presidents that we've had who run their freaking mouths about I want to do this, I want to do that, but they don't get the jobs done that they want to do. So I kind of like him still. Build the wall.
Yeah. Oh.
Uh-oh.
What do you got next?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Steve's looking very intently at paperwork.
Here it is.
Here it is. He's got it.
Here it is.
You ought to see Steve on his computer desk. He's like a machine over there.
I'm something, yeah. I don't know if the machine's a very good description. There we go. Some lawmakers in drug-ravaged West Virginia want to pitch in millions of dollars for President Donald Trump's wall building effort along the U.S.-Mexico border. GOP-led House of Delegates issued a statement Monday that a bill planned by 3 delegates would divert $10 million from West Virginia's current $186 million budget surplus for wall construction. Of course, Trump is seeking $5.7 billion to fund the wall construction, about 235 miles of it. And the federal government has been partially shut down as Trump and Democratic lawmakers are at an impasse over his request. Last week, a Republican lawmaker in Montana proposed giving more than $8 million for the wall, while South Dakota senators voted to urge construction of a steel barrier. West Virginia has by far the highest rate of U.S. drug overdose deaths. The 3 lawmakers said on a conference call Tuesday the $10 million helped stem the flow of drugs from Mexico into West Virginia. Let's see. Our constituents are crying out, saying they need help with this drug problem. Patrick Martin said West Virginians want this wall. I believe they want border security. Drug trafficking is concentrated at land ports of entry, not remote stretches of the border, according to a 2018 report by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. The most common trafficking technique is by transnational criminal organizations is to hide drugs in passenger vehicles or tractor trailers as they drive into the U.S. through entry ports where they are stopped and subject to inspections. They also employ buses, cargo trains, and tunnels, which we've talked about before.
Surely not.
Citing other smuggling methods, they also would not be choked off by the border wall. The DEA found that most of the heroin sold in the U.S. is being trafficked from Mexico, but the agency has said China is a main source of fentanyl and other synthetic opioids that have been flooding the U.S. market. China's pushed back on the characterization. But you know what? These people, the states who have a little bit of money, recognize that we need a little border security.
Sure we do. I mean, especially, I know I, for one, never gave a thought about the border till 9/11. But now it's imperative. Everybody should think about border security because of what could be coming over terroristically wise. But the drugs are just absolutely off the freaking charts. I understand you're never going to completely stop the drugs unless people stop doing drugs.
That's probably not going to happen.
No. But we've got to slow it down somehow.
Well, it's funny that they're coming out there like Nancy Pelosi says that walls are immoral and
tear down your walls, then, sweetie,
and it won't work. But we've seen. I'm going to use sporting events and stadiums and such where walls work rather well.
The Vatican?
The Vatican's one, too.
Nancy Pelosi's mansion?
Yeah. And I think there's starting to see a little bit of movement on the left as far as the wall is concerned. And we've got this little clip of Steny Hoyer.
We have a clip?
A video
really?
clip.
Wow, another one.
Yeah, and he's going to tell us that, we'll just take a look at it.
Go ahead, Steny.
With that, the guy I just heard was Senator McConnell. I don't agree.
The immorality.
I don't agree with that. Look, I don't think this is an issue of morality. It's an issue of does it work? And Senator Cornyn, Senator Graham, other members of the United States Senate have put in question whether a wall works, whether that is the best way to secure the border. Now, are some restraints? We've supported substantial restraints. We've supported fencing. We've supported other technologies. My own view is this is not an issue of morality. A wall is immoral if it tries to imprison people who shouldn't be imprisoned.
Okay.
A wall that protects people is not immoral. I think the issue is whether it works.
You have all kinds of Democrats speaking out about the wall. Yes. Beto O'Rourke, congressman who may be running for president, who knows, said that wall in itself is a racist reaction to a racist myth that does not reflect the reality of this country at all. Do you think a wall or barrier is racist?
Look, Brett.
Listen, Mr. Leader, here's the bottom line.
I don't talk in those terms. Yeah. And I don't think that's the way we ought to look at it. Again, the reason I mentioned Republican senators and House members, and the fact that the House didn't bring a bill to the floor until there were 10 days left in the year, is because there are an awful lot of people who just believe a wall in and of itself will not work, and the wall is not the best place to spend money. That's what I believe.
So for the people who are living in those border states, especially with some barrier that has been constructed, would you remove those existing barriers because you say they don't work?
No.
So they work there.
Brett, let me tell you, you say the people who live on the border area. You talk to the people along the Rio Grande, particularly a lot.
But anyway, he goes on to say that, borders in the proper places do work.
Sure do they
and
do.
So does technology they're talking about. I mean, they're talking about electronic surveillance and drones and such, but I don't know what that's going to do when they also have some type of thing where I think they're X-raying vehicles at the ports of entry, which they seem to think that works pretty well. So, yeah, I'm all for it, but still, you've got maybe not necessarily drugs coming across the border, but you have people who are not supposed to be here coming across the border.
There's tons of drugs coming across the border. You know, and we've talked about all the homicides and everything up in Chicago. Got a little thing here from Tijuana. It says Tijuana continues to notch cartel-related homicides with 17 registered in a 28-hour period just over the weekend. Cartel violence has now registered at least 153 murders for the month of January alone. Tijuana finished 2018 with a record-breaking 2,508 homicides, which was later adjusted upwards by the State Attorney General's office to 2,518. Most recent wave began on a Saturday at 8:26 when police were called to Colonia Francisco Villa, where a citizen reported an abandoned truck. According to the local reporting, responding officers discovered 4 male homicide victims wrapped in bed sheets, displaying signs of torture. Bodies were later handed over to forensic personnel for State Attorney General, which an additional homicides occurred at 143. Discovered a murder victim who suffered multiple gunshot wounds, another victim with gunshot wounds to the head. A bicyclist found a murder victim who suffered multiple gunshot wounds. A victim with a gunshot wound to the head was located inside of residence. Additional 10 bodies were discovered, including 2 separate double homicides. The first was recorded east of Tijuana, where 2 unknown male gunshot victims were discovered. The second registered in Colonia El whatever that is, where 2 other male victims were found in the trunk.
And you made fun of me, right?
Yeah, in the trunk of a burned vehicle. Okay, if that's not bad enough, Mexico has just set a record with more than 33,000 homicides in 2018. It's the highest number since the country began keeping records. 33,341 homicides, according to the report released by Mexico's Secretariat of Security and Citizen Protection. That compares with 28,866 homicides in 2017, which is an increase of more than 15%. The number of femicides, which is the killing of females because of their gender, also climbed 861 in 2018 compared with 759 the previous year. Many of the homicides are linked to drug cartel violence. Boy, go figure that. That's surely not going to come across the border or nothing.
No, not at all.
The Mexican government has been fighting a war with drug traffickers, although their last president has been discovered to have been taking bribes from the frickin' drug cartel.
Like $100 million worth.
At the same time, drug cartels have fought each other for control of territory. Wow, shocker. Mexican authorities uncovered a mass grave in 2017 with more than 250 skulls, most likely the victims of drug cartels over the years. Do I need to say any more about what's going on just south of our border and why we need something up there?
No, that pretty much sums it up. It's really very simple.
Well, where's the outcry from Nancy Pelosi and all these guys? I mean, they were crying years ago when they were in control.
You know, and our government shut down because of the disagreement over border security. But it seems kind of odd that Nancy Pelosi was going to go, take off out of country for 7 days?
Sure.
And Trump grounded her plane, which was sad but funny. I mean, if you're serious, if you're going to sit out there and say, we have a crisis on the border, we need to get to work and do something, and then you're going to take off for 7 days, you're not very serious about it.
No.
You're really not. And it's sad that Trump, was petty enough to ground her flight, but you know what? Why not? I mean, if you're being paid by the taxpayer to do a job, and you're going to sit there and scream the nation's in a crisis,
well, it's obviously not.
And then you want to take off out of country for 7 days?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Well, there you go.
That's wrong. It's wrong.
Well, Nancy says she has to smoke the crack to find out what's in the crack.
You've heard of an outfit called Campus Reform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they go out and talk to students on the campus. Students in American universities reacted unfavorably to calls for increased border security to stem the flow of illegal immigrants.
What?
Campus Reform's Cabot Phillips visited the university's Washington, D.C. campus amid the ongoing border funding battle and partial government shutdown. He presented students with several quotes that sounded a lot like Donald Trump. He said, from quotes from Obama, Chuck Schumer, and Hillary Clinton, he said, illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced we will stop the future flows of illegal immigrations, we will make no progress, Schumer said in 2009.
What are those funny noises?
That's a phone call. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Steve.
Oh,
hi,
hey.
Robin.
Hey,
what's happening?
The Air Force is in the building.
Oh, boy. You did it right out of the gate.
Well, I got to get Bob all fired up. How you doing, Robert?
I'm doing fine, Robin. How are you doing with all those seamen up there at the Great Lakes?
Well, it's kind of squiddish.
Oh, boy.
It's squiddish. Better watch out. You can catch diseases from all those seamen.
Yeah. Hey, have you been transported into that Clinton blood anymore? Or are you done with that?
I'm doing what, sir?
Transported into that Bill Clinton tainted blood up to Canada?
No, I haven't done that for a while.
Okay.
I'm doing something else now, thanks.
Well,
I'm not on the road.
That's good.
Which is good. I hope you guys have a safe trip back tonight. I know the weather's getting a little hinky tonight.
Well, Steve's driving, so chances are we're in trouble.
Nah, we're in good hands.
Like with Allstate, yeah, I'm sure. Well, what's the topic of discussion tonight, kids?
Well, I was just hitting on the Campus Reform thing where this Cabot Phillips went out and talked to people at the university and asked them about different quotes from different people, and they were under the impression that it was Donald Trump saying these things, and then they found out who it really was, and they were like, oh, my God, I can't believe I said all that. Yeah, well, that's because you're not paying attention.
And that's the problem. People aren't paying attention. They're not doing their freaking homework. They're just taking one person's word and going with it.
Yep. We discussed that before. All you have to do is make the accusation, and the person is automatically guilty, especially if they're a conservative.
Yes.
Just look at what's going on with this this Catholic kid and then this Indian out there that everybody was just going haywire over, and obviously found out different.
Mm-hmm.
They're pissing backwards on themselves now, aren't they, guys?
Well, they do like those golden showers out there.
They don't like this kid because he's wearing a MAGA hat, a Make America Great Again hat. So automatically, just because he's wearing that hat, he's guilty as charged.
Yeah, there's a lot of people walking back their frickin' comments now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they need to do that all around the board. I mean, you go to this government shutdown, all this stuff. There's nothing being reported, correctly. And the border, that's the one about the thing I'm paying attention on in the shutdown is, and I'm sure you guys have covered it, is
well,
they keep saying now the FBI says they can't pursue gang stuff and they can't do this. Well, we all know it's the Democrats that are holding this shit up. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse tonight.
Sure you did.
But we all know that, the Democrats are just holding out. They're the ones that are causing all this stuff. And give him the damn wall, and Trump is going to give him the world. I mean...
Well, yeah, he's going to walk back on his DACA deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, we've all seen the videos. There are all these Democrats, including that famous Pelosi and Schumer thing. They all said they want the wall.
Sure,
they said it 5 years ago, and now they don't want it, and they're holding the government at ransom and blaming Donald Trump. Yeah, I'd love to blame Donald Trump for everything wrong in my life, but that ain't happening. Both the wall in, the government shutdown's over. Boom. They spent $5 million in the course of my phone call. I mean, let's be serious.
Oh, I wonder if our Democratic politicians are going to say anything to Mexico, because now Mexico is wanting to build a wall on their southern border to keep out these freaks.
Well, let's both build the damn wall.
Mexico
build theirs, we'll build ours. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, now there's supposedly another friggin' invasion from the south. There's a whole bunch more refugees coming in.
Yeah, they just caught a big gang leader coming in this next caravan, too.
Did they? Who caught him, Robin?
Not exactly. I think the Border Patrol did. Actually,
our guys did?
I think so. Don't quote me on that, because I just saw the article just a little bit ago.
And there you go. And it flabbergasts me that to hear now the Democrats are saying, "Oh hell, there's no trouble at the border."
Oh hell no.
The Acosta thing, they're all full of shit. That's the worst curse word I'll fucking say. This whole damn phone call. So all I got to say, it's horse shit.
Where there are good walls, there's no trouble. Correct. I agree with that. But where there is no good walls, that's where all the trouble's coming in at. The drugs, the sex traffickers, the gangbangers, all of them.
As plain as the nose on your face, and that's all you can say.
I just went over statistics of murders in Tijuana and in Mexico City. It's just astronomical, and you can't, and a lot of these people who live down on the borders in these spots where there is no walls, they got to face this crap coming over the border every damn day.
And they shouldn't have to. Shouldn't have to at all.
No, I think what we need to do is take some of these frickin' politicians, stick their asses down on the border where all this crap is happening, let them stay with some of these people to see exactly what's going on.
Absolutely. If you can remember, kids, especially the ones that are old enough, remember Jane Byrne, the old female mayor of Chicago, actually went and stayed in Cabrini Green one night. And I actually think they need to put Nancy Pelosi and Schumer up in some Motel 6 about 500 yards north of that frickin' border and make them spend 30 days.
Hey, Bill
Clinton. I guarantee you their tune will change.
Sure they will. Bill Clinton stayed up in Harlem, or at least they said he did.
There was one reason why Bill was there, and I'm not going to go there on this call.
What was her name? He's probably just getting away from
Diamond Easthill or something. I don't know.
He's probably just getting away from Hillary. I mean, who wouldn't?
Why wouldn't? Hey, you guys keep up the good work. Wonderful talking to you, and you guys take care.
All right, brother.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
Take care, Robin.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Stephen.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
He's always fun when Bob calls.
Oh, yes, it is. You're absolutely right.
I wonder if the other guy's going to call.
I don't know. Hey, we got Jason Mixter out there, Jody Parrish, Josh Saylor. All right.
Sailor Man.
Wow, it's always something with you.
It is.
Anyway, back to the campus reform thing where this Cabot Phillips was talking to people. One of the quotes he gave me says, "We cannot simply allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked." I voted numerous times when I was a senator to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in, and I don't think you have to control your... I do think you have to control your borders. The first one was Obama, the other one was Clinton, and these kids are like, "Oh my God, I thought it was Trump," and I hated it when I thought it was Trump. But Beyonce said, "I guess, I don't know what to think now." So, I thought you were supposed to learn something in college.
No, all they learn is socialistic BS anymore.
That's sad, because I thought you were supposed to gather information, make your own decision, and go from there. But
well, you're supposed to. You're supposed to. Kind of like these people that are involved in this Brexit movement now.
Ah, yes, go with that.
Not Brexit. That's European crap. This is Brexit. Brexit campaign founder Candace Owens spoke exclusively to Breitbart News on Sunday amid the inaugural Los Angeles Brexit rally, which hosted hundreds, listen to this, of free-thinking Black, Hispanic, and Latino activists.
Well, we can't have free-thinking minorities like that.
Yes, you can.
No.
And I'm telling you, there is a big movement going on. They just had a rally this Martin Luther King weekend out in L.A., like this article's saying. And she said, Candace Owens, it's beyond a war. It's a declaration of independence. It's revolutionary. It's letting people know that we don't have to be oppressed because we are minorities.
What?
Yeah, absolutely. We should not feel like we are separate from the American dream. I mean, I am shocked to see, like, I have this vision, and so many Latino people responded and said, put us in Brexit. We are the L, and here we are, downtown Los Angeles. It really means something. It totally pulls at my heart. I'm just blessed to have this much support and love. Owen says Brexit gives timid Trump supporters the ability to publicly support him in his agenda. I think it gives people the permission to outwardly support him. And it goes on to say, you don't need to run from the left and you don't need to go to the right, but you should question why you're standing where you're standing. You have the authority to question why we are married to a party and political ideology that has never served us. Speaking of the Democratic Party, because they've been basically holding them down since Lyndon Baines Johnson. She explained to Breitbart News, not in the history of the United States has the left ever served Black Americans or Latino Americans, and that's where it starts. Educate yourselves. Boom, right there. Educate yourselves.
What?
Make your own damn decisions. She didn't say it. That's my words. Become a part of the political dialogue and not a fear-based dialogue, which is what the left wants. Damn. Can you believe that?
No kidding.
Flipping this thing over to veteran conservative talk radio host and best-selling author Larry Elder, which is also an African-American man.
Yeah, but some gal didn't know that the other day, did she?
No, she didn't. He'd said, I would like to say it's an idea whose time is way, way overdue. Speaking of the Brexit movement, Black people have voted for the Democratic Party in large numbers for a very long period of time, and what's happened is many of the left-wing policies that have been promoted with the best of intentions, most notably the Lyndon Johnson War on Poverty, I don't know how that turned out, which was launched in 1965, have been absolutely disastrous. At the time, 25% of Black kids were born without fathers. Fast forward, $20 trillion has been spent on the so-called war against poverty since 1965, and now 73% of Black kids are born outside of wedlock. And we wonder why there's no discipline. You know, you've got to have a father figure in your house.
It sure helps.
I don't care what all of these transgender people or these politically correct people think. You need a father figure in the damn house to help raise these kids the way they're supposed to be raised. He goes on to say, I didn't say it. Obama said, a kid raised without a father is 5 times more likely to be poor, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. Boom. That is a far bigger problem than the alleged racism that the left claims is institutionally still going on in this country. There's more to this article, but I'm running out of breath. I didn't bring my oxygen tank. So, you know, the Brexit movement is real. Black Americans are finally figuring out that this democratically liberal, socialist-controlled bullcrap is not benefiting them one bit.
At all. In fact, it's keeping them down.
Sure. Look at Detroit. Look at the inner city of Chicago.
Sure.
You know, and nobody can freaking tell me that that's not part of the damn problem.
Oh, absolutely.
And I wonder where, other than Mr. Elder and Miss Owens, why the hell isn't Jesse Jackson or any of them other people trying to do anything about it?
Very good question.
Maybe because it doesn't line their freaking pockets with money. Just my thought.
Got to keep the hate and discontent going out there, don't you?
Absolutely.
Here's something else that comes from Fox News from 2 days ago. Latinos are increasingly rallying for Donald Trump, according to data from the new NPR, PBS, NewsHour, and Marist poll.
That's wrong. You got that from evil Fox News.
I just told you where I got it from.
Okay. I'm sorry, Steve.
But it did come from Fox News according to these other polls. The poll notes that 50% of Latinos surveyed approve of the job Trump is doing, and a 19% point increase from December of last year. Wow. Republican strategist Gus Portela, he was the one saying this president has done historic strides to help the Latino community, he said, noting that the low unemployment of Latinos under Trump. The poll also notes that 63% of all adults surveyed want to see elected officials make compromises. It also said that 31% want to see their elected officials stick to their positions, while 6% are unsure. He said that Hispanics do care about border security and that the Democrats in the United States have failed them. He said Democrats have not lived up to their words. So, they're paying attention. So that's it. His poll numbers are up 19 points since December. Yeah, that's 3 weeks?
But here's
that's
what
a
you're
lot.
Saying. You're seeing all this bull crap on the lamestream media, and people are not finding out about this because they're not going to other freaking news sources. All they're seeing is this freaking made up bull crap from all these other freaking
not the fake news.
Yeah, this fake news crap, and they're not trying to find out from other sources what the hell's going on.
Because our news media is biased.
You're kidding.
A little bit. Sure is.
Hey, speaking of that Blexit movement, there's 3 or 4 articles on our website about it with interviews. They can explain it a lot better than I just read it here. So if you get a chance, go listen to them because they're pretty damn good.
Super. Here we got Eddie Durrell and Kevin Perry out there.
Eddie.
Okay, you were just talking about the drug stuff here just recently, right? Get this. This is from U.S. News from in November, actually. Despite federal opposition, Denver is trying again to become what could be the first U.S. city to open a supervised drug injection site.
What?
A strategy that some liberal cities have tried repeatedly to launch to reduce overdose deaths fueled by nationwide opioid epidemic.
Well, now they're going to have to step over heroin needles like they are out in San Francisco. Not to mention piles of fecal matter.
The Denver City Council voted 12-1 to approve the measure that would allow one open site for at least 2 years under a pilot program.
Oh, yeah, they're all high. Hey, man, let's get this injection site going.
The program must win approval from state legislature, which is now under Democratic control after this month's election earlier this year.
It's good.
The Republican-controlled state Senate killed a similar legislation earlier. If successful, Denver could have the nation's first publicly sanctioned site for people to use heroin, methamphetamine, and other illegal drugs under medical supervision, with staffers able to intervene in case of an overdose. I thought we were supposed to prevent drug use.
Oh, no. They want to keep them stoned. That'll keep them on welfare and things like that. That'll keep the people down.
Wow. Supporters say it's a safer alternative to those who aren't ready for rehab, while opponents... You're never going to be ready for rehab if you keep shooting up, are you?
Hell no.
As long as you got a place to go and people are going to provide you with the stuff you need and give you a safe place to...
What is the name of that drug that they give them to counteract the heroin overdose? Anyway, they give it to him for free, correct?
It's Narcan, I think is what it is.
Narcan or something like that. And this stuff is given to him for free. So I'm wondering if they're going to give a heroin addict this stuff for free, why don't they give cancer patients or something like that the stuff that they need for free?
And what about people with diabetes and stuff like that? Insulin's not free. It's not cheap.
People don't go out and just say, oh, I'm going to try this cancer on for size and see what it's like. But people will go out and say, hey, I'm going to try this heroin on for size and see what it's like. Oh, boy.
Yeah, and we was talking the other day that a buddy of mine who's a first responder on an ambulance, the one customer they had was a repeat offender. They had saved him 3 times in one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
While opponents say it condones dangerous drug use, facilitating the use of illegal drugs is a federal felony, and the U.S. government has indicated it would stand by if cities move to open such sites. It wouldn't stand by. I'm sorry. I thought that sounded odd. Other U.S. cities, including San Francisco, Seattle, New York, and Philadelphia, expressed interest in opening supervised injection sites.
Sure. Yeah, that's wonderful.
California lawmakers passed a measure that would have protected workers and participants in a San Francisco pilot program from state prosecution, but Governor Jerry Brown vetoed it in September.
Governor Moonbeam
got something right. That's odd. A private nonprofit is raising money for the supervised injection site in Philadelphia, but has pushed back its potential opening date from January to mid-March. The group Safe House said, while Philadelphia District Attorney has said he won't prosecute anyone providing medical oversight at the facility. State and federal law officials said they wouldn't be legal. So I thought we were supposed to prevent drug use, and they're giving these people places to go.
They keep them all doped up, then they keep them on the government frickin' dime. They keep frickin' voting.
That's sad.
If they can find the frickin' voting booth.
Oh, don't worry. They'll bring the voting booth to them.
Sure they will.
They'll give them a rider or whatever it takes, you know.
And then they'll go, oh, well, if we give this guy too much heroin, he'll die, but he'll still vote anyway.
That's especially in Chicago.
Hey, speaking of California.
Oh, boy.
You know, Jed Clampett said California is a place you ought to be. Well, no, it's not anymore. Because the grammar police are preparing to issue citations.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Citations for grammar?
California State Senate Judiciary Committee Chairwoman Hannah Beth Jackson, Democrat from Santa Barbara, announced Thursday that only gender-neutral pronouns will be permitted during committee hearings. No more will Senator Jackson allow he or she to be used when referring to a male or female. I wonder what happened to my constitutional First Amendment. They will be the only allowed pronoun. Acknowledging this incorrect grammar, Jackson said California passed a law recognizing the non-binary designation as a gender, he and she. We are now merging them. So we are using what my grammar teacher would have had a heart attack over. We are using the phrase they and replacing other designations so it's a gender-neutral designation. In the spirit of gender neutrality for the rules of this committee, we now designate the chair as they, Jackson said, referring to herself as they, or should we say oneself, referring to a gender-neutral, oneself, referring to a gender-neutral subject with a reflexive pronoun. And isn't Senator Jackson a chairwoman, not a chair?
Oh.
As silly as it sounds, she has the authority to make this change pursuant to California Constitution. Legislature has authority to do what they want for their committee rule. This just goes to show you how stupid California is.
They be crazy.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, Steve.
See the way I worked that in there?
You're such a jokester.
Yeah.
Such a jokester.
That's sad. That's sad.
It is sad. It's just unbelievable. But anyway, there's your funny for today.
They be crazy. You know, we was talking about people voting a minute ago, right? Get this. Former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams, if you remember seeing her on TV, said she won't oppose non-citizens voting in local elections.
Really?
Well, she's not the first one to do this.
No, California was wanting to do that.
I think they already did. On PBS Firing Line, the host Margaret Hoover asked Abrams about what she thought about municipalities like San Francisco that have decided to allow non-citizens to vote in some local elections. I think there's a difference between municipal and state and federal, Abrams responded. The granularity of what cities decide to do is so specific as to, I think, allow people to be participants in the process without it somehow undermining our larger democratic ethnic that says you should be a citizen to be part of the conversation. What? Abrams added that she believes there are some cases where 16-year-olds should be allowed to cast a ballot.
And more of our government stupidity right here.
I think the school board elections where kids actually got to speak to affect the decisions made by school board members, the effect it has on their education, I think there's a legitimate argument for making that for having that conversation. I haven't decided where I stand on it, but I think it's a conversation we need to have. So
I think you need to give me a claw hammer and I will recalibrate your brain.
So I don't even know where to start on this.
Where will it end? Once it starts in city government, you start letting non-citizens vote, what do you think is going to happen?
So
it's going to freaking snowball.
And there's going to be state elections, there's going to be federal elections. So
absolutely. And they know it.
We got a big investigation about Russian collusion, right? So
going on 2 years.
So if we're allowing undocumented illegals to vote, so what if Vladimir Putin and his entourage come over here and cast ballots? Would that be okay? So if you're okay with illegals voting, why are you worried about Russian collusion? Because last I heard, no Russians cast a ballot. But
that you know of.
Well, if they would have, we'd heard about it by now had they found
we couldn't have read it anyway.
But yeah, so
a reset button.
Yeah. So if you're okay with illegals voting, why is there this big investigation with Russia? Come on, really?
Yes, Dave. I would like to bulldoze the West Coast off the face of the
earth. And the other part, they're talking about 16-year-old kids voting. Voting with the school board or something to do with the schools there. Isn't that putting the rooster in charge of the hen house?
Cock-a-doodle-doo, baby.
I mean, how many kids do you have compared to staff? They're outnumbered, so guess what? If you go with the majority vote, which the left seems to think that's the thing to do, you won't need administrators. The kids will run it.
Sure they will. The kids will be in charge of the asylum.
It's kind of like that now in some cases.
Yes, it is. Hey, going back to Nancy Pelosi and our government. Judicial Watch, and if you don't know what Judicial Watch is, you need to go there, judicialwatch.com. They're watchdogs against our government here. They announced today that it obtained documents through a Freedom of Information Act, that's a FOIA, lawsuit against the Air Force, detailing a $134,000 plus $50,000 for an advance of funds for an escort officer for a total of $184,000 for then House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, congressional delegation to Italy and the Ukraine. They filed a December 2015 FOIA lawsuit after the Air Force failed to respond on August of 2015 request. The documents show that from July 30th to August 6th, Pelosi took a trip to Milan, Naples, and Kiev for herself, her husband, several members of Congress, and their spouses. Trip included visits to the Vatican Museum, Sistine Chapel, and viewing Da Vinci's Last Supper. The documents also show the Air Force negative response to a Pelosi staff request for a specific crew for Pelosi's flight. Official notes that it would be disastrous to set a precedent, even if it were possible. The Air Force further points out our ARC crews have plenty to balance already with military duties and their civilian employers. Well, yeah, you would think so. The documents also detail a Codell trip for Senator Cory Gardner, Republican from Colorado, probably high, who traveled commercial flights to Asia, including Tokyo and Okinawa, Seoul, and totaling at least $26,000. Speaker Pelosi has demonstrated a record of abusing the perks of the office that give her access to military luxury travel paid for by taxpayers.
That's you and me.
That's you and me. I'm sure Nancy's not the only one. I'm sure there are some on the Democratic and Republican side that do this type of bull crap, and we wonder why we get pissed off at our politicians.
And why $5.7 billion, they're squabbling over that, which how much money did you just say they spent on a couple flights?
Oh, my goodness, over $184,000. But, I guess when the government shuts down, you can just take trips anywhere.
Apparently, especially when you're calling it a crisis and you're one of the people that's supposed to help solve it.
Sure,
and you just take off and have a little vacation or something. Seen today. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham just announced that the Senate Judiciary Committee is going to investigate Obama-era scandals.
Really?
It's about time. That's one thing I was pretty disappointed in Jeff Sessions, is all the things that were going on, like such as the Hillary emails, the IRS things, Fast and Furious, which was Eric Holder.
Holder, John Costigan, Lois Lerner.
Absolutely.
Nothing's happened to any of these people.
Says new tensions are flaring over the Senate Judiciary Committee over plans by newly minted Chairman Lindsey Graham to dig into Obama-era scandals. They include the FBI's handling the investigation in Hillary's private email server and the FISA warrant applications targeting former Trump campaign aide Carter Page. Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat from Illinois, asked about Graham's plans, starting laughing and compared it to the thrilling days of yesteryear. He said, "This is going to be like the History Channel, it turns out. Instead of taking a look at the current issues, Lindsey Graham wants to go back and answer important questions about the Bermuda Triangle and Hillary Clinton," Durbin told The Hill. Okay, here's the thing, Dick, is that the Obama administration was never held accountable for anything.
Not a damn thing.
So now Lindsey Graham, finally, we got somebody doing something about this, looking into this stuff to see what wrongdoing was there.
Lindsey Grosset?
He's actually been pretty decent here lately.
Well, that's good.
He's going to look into this stuff that we've been talking about for eons because nobody else would. Everybody just turned a blind eye to it. But by God, somebody say something about Trump with the Russians, and it's like Trump gave Russia 20% of our uranium. Oh, wait a minute. That was Obama and Hillary, wasn't it?
Yes.
So it's about time somebody's looking into this stuff. And Dick Durbin says, "Well, why are you not dealing with the issues at hand?" Well, here again. If you committed a crime 3 or 4 years ago, should you not still be held accountable for it?
Well, I would think.
I understand there's statute of limitations on things, but I'm going to guess these things have not ran out. Can you imagine if Trump's people would have deleted 33,000 emails and did bleach bitted him, what would happen then? Bad things have happened to the Trump people. It's just the hypocrisy is just insane.
There's no hypocrisy, Steve. Come on.
Well, I got to give credit to Lindsey Graham for at least looking into this stuff, and it may not go anywhere.
Your brain has just been bleach bit.
Yeah, that's one of the nicer things been said to me for a while.
Gosh.
But seriously, I mean, oh my God, why was it never? Jeff Sessions was a big disappointment. The Attorney General on this should have been, one of the first things out of the gate. Let Mueller do his thing. You start picking up things from this last election. There were several things to look at. The FISA warrants being one, the Hillary emails, and the list goes on and on and on. And now we got this BuzzFeed report that comes out that says, what the hell's his name? Oh, Michael Cohen was told by President Trump to lie to Congress. And then, get this, the Mueller team comes out and said that information is not accurate.
Well, it is BuzzFeed. I mean, BuzzFeed has been wrong quite a bit.
Well, they're still standing by their story, and they got, of course, unidentified sources and confidential sources and such. And I understand that, but don't you ever run out of confidential sources? Because you seem to have a lot of them.
Yes, there is.
We're out of time, mister.
That's good, because I'm tired.
You're hungry, probably.
That too. There could be a big old fat Sonic burger in my future.
Really? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure of it. Hey, we had TC out there, Mike Keithley. All right.
TC. You're right, Josh. BuzzFeed is crap. Crap. Dave, you're right. Both sides do that travel crap. Absolutely. We just like picking on Nancy because she's like our favorite booger.
Well, wow. But it seems like when the left accuses somebody of something, then it's gospel.
Well, sure it is.
So, absolutely. I don't know. Hey, big thank you out to you people out there that tuned in and got on our page here and had some comments. Greatly appreciate it.
It just makes it that much more fun for me and Smitty.
You betcha. And phone calls, pretty awesome. Well, we're out of time, folks. We're going to wrap this thing up. And remember, if you post something out there and we don't see it or get to it, don't be offended.
Absolutely.
We'll get something in there somewhere at some point in time. Well, ready to wrap this thing up?
Yep.
Okay, remember, if you love your country, you love your freedom, thank a veteran.
Always thank a veteran.
Thanks for turning on and tuning in.
God bless America.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.